That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in the seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Weight game. So Israel Madrimov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
The fight between Terence Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez is drawing intense attention because it is viewed as one of the most intriguing matchups boxing has seen in years. Not necessarily because both fighters are at their absolute peak, but because of the many layers of challenge involved. Mike Tyson, one of the most iconic figures in the sport, highlighted that the mental aspect of fighting Canelo Alvarez may be even more important than the physical challenge. Tyson explained that pressure is not just about being hit, but about the fear of being hit and the psychological toll it takes on a fighter in the build-up and during the fight itself.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody thinks pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
It's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fight sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, who once faced Canelo Alvarez in the ring, brought his own perspective to the debate. Khan acknowledged that Canelo Alvarez is one of the greatest fighters of this era with vast experience across divisions, but he did not dismiss Terence Crawford's chances.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, you know, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot.
We're not
Make me think.
We're not catching and shooting.
We're catching and resetting and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, you know, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It's a habit problem.
He said, all right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So you know, to your point, when there's a feeling, you know,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. You know, I was
lost around.
Whatever. Hello.
I don't know around here. Chill out.
He don't even know around here. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So you know we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, you know, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff.
Israel Madrimov, another fighter who recently shared the ring with Terence Crawford at 154 pounds, offered a warning that Crawford's strategy could backfire if he makes the wrong adjustments. Other voices in the boxing world have expressed concerns related to Crawford's age and physical readiness. By the time the fight is set to take place, Crawford will be 38 years old, and while his skills remain sharp, age inevitably affects reflexes, recovery, and endurance.
Successful. September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Majimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Majimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Majimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Trainer Abel Sanchez, who has a long history in the sport, dismissed Crawford's chances entirely. He said the fight would resemble a sparring session for Canelo Alvarez rather than a genuine contest because of the stark size and experience disparity.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri brought a different critique, not about Crawford's preparation or skill, but about the level of hype surrounding the fight. Algieri acknowledged it is a major event, but rejected the narrative that it is one of the greatest fights in boxing history.
I love it, because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see, and a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, you know. And Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody said it. So thank you.
This guy, he didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen? Yeah, all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like, you said there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it, too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but
fight.
this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Another strong reaction came from Showbiz the Adult, a well-known boxing analyst who emphasized the disparity in the quality of opposition both men have faced. Showbiz argued that none of the opponents Crawford has beaten would realistically stand a chance against the caliber of fighters Canelo Alvarez has faced throughout his career.
Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.